bring in national security analyst Brigitte Gabriel. She's the chairwoman of actforamerica.org and the author of the book Rise. Also with us, former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz. He's also the former NSC chief of staff for the Trump administration and the vice chair of the America First Policy Institute. Great to see you both. I'll start with you, Brigitte. If you can react to Chuck's reporting over there, you know, Syria and the Druze, the civilians, the minority group. This is, Syria unstable after the fall of Assad, but there was hopes, even with President Trump over in the Middle East, that there would be some type of pathway there to have some type of government where we could, as the United States, count on, some type of either entering the Abraham Accords or getting some type of semblance of normalcy. Is that still viable?
Well, the sad thing is that in Syria, it's not only the Druze who are being massacred, it's also the Christians. The Christians were massacred first. Unfortunately, there's no one really to stand up for the Christians. And the reason why Israel is coming to the aid of the Druze is because the Druze in Israel serve in the IDF. They are IDF members. Half of their family members live on the other side inside Syria. So what's happening right now are the Druze who serve in the IDF in Israel are putting pressure on the Israeli government saying, hey, we're laying our life here in the defense of the state of Israel. Our families are being massacred on the other side. You need to get involved. You need to go and help. Otherwise, we're going to go in and help. So Israel had to get involved. And this is exactly why Israel is in, trying to secure that area, trying to secure the Druze. And hopefully the Christians will benefit in the process. But look, the Islamic State and the leader is a problem. Remember, he is the leader of Syria right now. Jolani is the baby child, basically, of Al-Qaeda and ISIS combined. And I know that the West is trying to recruit him to become, to sign off on the Abraham Accord, join, etc. But the massacres that are happening right now in Syria need to get under control.
Yeah, Fred, I'd like to get your perspective on this, because obviously this is another thing on President Trump's plate as well, and he's trying to, see if there's a ceasefire in Gaza, and then you have the Druze, you have the situation, obviously, with Syria and the instability of all of it. The Middle East is somewhere where he had made a lot of, great progress, as we see Russia and Ukraine, which we'll get to in a minute, a bit stalled there. What's your take on where we are at this hour?
Well, President Trump made a strategic decision to try to reach out to the new Syrian government to see if he could promote moderation and maybe even add it to the Abraham Accords. The problem is there's barely any Syrian government. This government doesn't control most of Syria, just controls a sliver of it. And the people in this administration don't seem to answer to the Syrian president. There are reports that these attacks on the Druze in southern Syria included members of the Syrian government. The Syrian president didn't approve this. He claims he wants to have a good relationship with the Druze and condemn the attacks. But there's going to be trouble here because there is chaos and anarchy in this country because it is so poor, it is so out of control. And I don't see the day coming soon that we could add this country to the Abraham Accords. They need to get their house in order. And if they don't, there's going to be more attacks on their territory by Israel to defend itself and its allies.
Great point. Let's talk about this cyber attack, which is, possibly could be a bigger story. We're looking at sort of the information coming in. So Kyiv Independent here, Ukrainian hackers have wiped databases at Russia's Gazprom. They're calling it a major cyber attack. It happened yesterday. And, they use this. Gazprom's also a drone supplier called Black Owl. So Ukraine doesn't, as many are looking at this saying, well, if you don't have the military capabilities, this is really one way you could get at Russia. Could this be the beginning of a new approach with cyber warfare? I'll let you each weigh in on this. First to you, Brigitte.
Well, we're seeing the Ukrainians become more creative in the way they are fighting this war. One, they are emboldened right now by NATO coming to their defense, standing with them, as well as America supplying the weapons needed that NATO can purchase and provide to the Ukrainians to defend themselves from the Russians. And this comes also on the back of the last attack where we saw Ukrainians launch attacks inside Russia from Russia. So we're seeing a sophistication here that's really ramped up, and it's very impressive.
Fred, what do you think? Obviously, implications potentially for Europe if it's Gazprom. This is an interesting story that we're still bubbling up very closely. Gazprom would not talk about whether or not they were hacked, obviously, so no comment confirming this.
I think that's a real issue, but I'll tell you that one reason why Ukraine has proved to be such a formidable enemy for the Russians is because it has been so good at tapping new technologies of war, advanced drones, advanced missiles, now a very sophisticated cyber attack. They're really keeping the Russians on their heels. And I think this is going to continue because Ukraine has been able to attract money and technology and know-how to fight a much more powerful nation that's been attacking it. That's why this war right now is at a standstill.
Fred Fleitz, Brigitte Gabriel, appreciate you both. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.